And how you guys doing? And in reference to directors that have worked with me when I was little, or, when my mother and father was alive too. My father produced a lot of shows. My father was the number one producer in Hollywood history, and in reference to movies too. In reference to my father's studios and my mother too, and in reference to family history. Of course, there was other people that, did a lot of productions and TV shows and things like that. So in reference to, and wonderful directors and producers of friendly acknowledgments, So in reference to the history of directors or writers or cinematographers or musicians that have worked with me in history of Hollywood, people need to make some documentation of it, put it on YouTube, or in reference to somebody communicated something about Steve McQueen and some of the movies. I was on some sets when I was a little boy, and somebody was talking about somebody tried to communicate something about the stunt driver acknowledgments or something back in the whenever it was, or when I was a little boy, in movies or whichever. So, it's kind of a long story in reference to some things, but, in reference to the directors, writers, and production crews that have worked with me in music or movies and TV, need somebody to make some YouTube videos about it. Just, saying whether, if you want to be explicit about it, like, details of what characters I've played in movies. Yeah, I was just watching on here. I was watching the Gamer movie. It's about video games. It's like people trying to play voodoo control of people's lives or something. Some people was wondering if I was in that movie or if I was in some other movies. Somebody's got to make a video about it. And, of course, there are particulars of directors and writers and cinematographers, like I've mentioned, and other actors and musical, duets or whichever musical group that I've sang with. I've made this information mentioned before in video. I've mentioned this before. And in reference to the history of things, in reference to people, it's going to get lost in history. And, I don't know if people are intentionally not making videos or making documentation of things, but, the Screen Actors Union has fingerprints and documentation of TV shows from when I was a little boy. And that Satellite Man made me burp. And, so it's kind of a long story of history. Very important in reference to, history museums and the Film and Television Museum and the Screen Actors Union. Haven't received a thing from there either. And my father and mother and my family history, of course, I'm supposed to have an office at the Screen Actors Union, aren't I? Didn't my father own the Screen Actors Union? Many things of importance. So anyways, in reference to movies and TV shows and, action films or romantic movies or, the point of, directors and writers and cinematographers that are going to stay in Hollywood without, if people are conflicting with who I am or my ownership of things in Hollywood or in the media, it's just going to go along with that fact of, I'm the owner of my mother and father's properties and companies, and look to see if I'm the largest owner of land in California, too. This is just a major hostage situation, and it's illegal for people in this country to allow the Germans or the Middle Easterners to be trying to control Hollywood, or them holding me hostage or anything, or them cock-blocking me from having relationships with a girlfriend. But anyways, in reference to the movie The Gamer, it's about video games. It's like voodoo video game stuff or whichever. And in reference to people that see me with my muscles on and athletic accomplishments, this is going to have to be very important in reference to the guidelines in reference to, bodybuilding history, how much I can bench press, how fast I can run, how many yards did I ever get if I played in the NFL? Was I one of the number one leading rushers in NFL history, someone might say? I don't know. You have to ask. People need to advertise this information because people can get arrested if they don't acknowledge certain things in reference to. Plus, my parents owned sports teams. And I'm the owner of my mother and father's estates forever. Nothing's ever for sale. So anyways, lots of things of importance. Directors, writers, and cinematographers, and fashion industry. Fashion designers. Oh, and I guess some limousine drivers in reference to any of my mother or father's properties. Some of those people, I guess, are going to get fired because nobody has came over. So it's like people are squatting on limousines, people are squatting on things, I guess, I don't know. So obviously, and today's date is June 15th or 16th? 16th, 2021. So in reference to, I'm watching the Gamer movie. It's about, like I mentioned before, voodoo, like video game robot, people trying to control people's bodies and stuff. Anyways. And hello, models and actresses and females. Haven't received any letters. Haven't received anything. And, this is, it's considered a crime in reference to people trying to cut off communications with me and my own companies of my mother and father's estates. It's pretty serious. People trying to play Castaway games like the Tom Hanks movie Castaway. Yeah, this is pretty serious. It's all going to catch up with these bad people eventually, and people are going to go to prison. Anyways, so in reference to people if they want to make videos and TikTok videos or something, make it in the history books because it's part of history in reference to this situation. Pretty much a lot of things are in reference to if people are gonna make videos, they'll go in the history museum and reference to this hostage situation too. Lots of things of importance.